There has always been a minority in this hobby that play at home with a close-knit group. Standards and expectations will be set to what they want and what they like. They will vary from table to table. Now the majority play with strangers or people they don't know too well. I want to focus on that world. Play how you want at home, but when it comes to public gaming, we should have a higher standard on players that is actually pushed by most people that run these games. Every dungeon master and every game master or every storyteller, whatever you want to call yourself, you should put an expectation onto your players from the get-go that they take your game serious and they focus on the game during the time you're in the gaming session. Let's go over some of these areas where there should be higher standards. Out of character talk should never flow with in-character talk. What do I mean? The game master and the other players that you play with should always know when you're speaking out of character and not in character. In character is when you're speaking for your character. You're answering the question of the merchant. Out of character talk would be you telling your dungeon master that your character is drawing their sword. It is not hard to look at the game master and say, this is out of character, before you speak out of character. Next, don't assume that your intentions are obvious. When you go to say something or do an action with your character where you're expecting a certain outcome, you should make sure that you say it out loud. Communicate what your intention is. Next, provide information about any spells or skills that your character uses to the game master when you go to use them with your character. And do it every time. Because the game master cannot memorize everything in the book, they can't even remember every detail when they're dealing with 50 different things from session to session. You may have to repeat information to them because they might not remember it from the last time they dealt with it 1 or 2 sessions ago. Do not slow down the flow of the game and make your game master have to either look for the information or ask you to give it to them. Just provide it. The game master should not have to poke you for that information. Okay, let's move on. When you are joining a new game, I don't care what your attitude is. Be as reasonable and fair-minded with the game master as you want the game master to be reasonable and fair with you. And yes, of course you do that with the other players as well. It just doesn't work. It creates conflict and makes you a bad guy. You're playing with strangers. You gotta make it that they want to keep playing the game with you. Or you might be showing up for 1 or 2 sessions, and then you're told to not come to any more sessions. Not good. Also, do me a favor. When you show up to play a session, actually play the session. If you are on the phone, looking at a different site, reading something not game related, during a gaming session, you're not playing the game, you suck. You are the type of player that spoils the flow of the game and the fun of the game. You ruin it for the other people that game with you. Next, if you casually skip gaming sessions that you agreed to play, get out of the hobby yesterday. We don't want you. Next, stop being mentally lazy. These games require you to read, get comfortable with reading. Stop looking at your character sheet all the time and learn to think for yourself. Okay, if you are offended by what I said, you are the problem, not me. The hobby having a higher expectation of players, and not just players, but also the people that run the game, we would all be better off for it, and just about everybody understands that that's in the hobby. For now, take care.